Good morning, America. Hillary Clinton breaks her silence, speaking for the first time since her loss to Donald Trump.
Wasn't the easiest thing for me.
As President-elect Trump fights back against allegations of a transition in turmoil. Now, former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger heading to Trump Tower, and Trump's campaign chief Kellyanne Conway here live with the inside story.
Breaking overnight, a deadly gas explosion, a blast going off in the middle of a town square, destroying buildings, shattering glass, killing at least one person. 11 rushed to the hospital.
Just a big boom.
Now investigators are on the scene.
ABC News exclusive, former Fox News star and Miss America, Gretchen Carlson, speaking out about sexual harassment, the unwanted advances she says she's experienced throughout her career.
I remember thinking to myself, this is happening again?
Leading to the blockbuster allegations that helped cost Roger Ailes his job. Why she's coming forward and telling her story now, only on GMA.
A Hero Brothers split-second decision. The 9-year-old rushing in to save his baby brother from this terrifying fall.
I just ran and I caught him, but I can't even carry him, so I don't know how that happened.
The scary close call, and what his mother is saying about that moment, and her warning for all parents.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. Happy Thursday to everyone. Mike, I think we got a kid who's got a future in pro football. Fierce and fast.
I mean, that kid deserved the Christmas present of all Christmas presents. And anytime his younger brother acts up when they get older, just say, hey, let's go to the videotape.
Yeah. He's going to hear that in time.
Oh, yeah.
You're right about that, Michael.
And this morning, all eyes on Trump Tower. We've seen all kinds of VIPs heading in. No one really knows what's going on behind those closed doors, though. Donald Trump keeping his own counsel. But take a look at this. Boxer Floyd Mayweather, boxing legend there with Don Trump Jr. and the president-elect right there. And we're going to hear from Kellyanne Conway, Trump's senior advisor, in just a little bit.
But first, we're going to begin with Hillary Clinton giving her first speech since conceding the election to Donald Trump, opening up about that defeat, her disappointment, and her determination to move forward. ABC's David Wright is here with details. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Robin. Hillary Clinton has often said when she gets knocked down, she gets right back up. Well, here she was, 1 week after this stunning upset, addressing an event for the Children's Defense Fund, downhearted but unbroken.
I will admit, coming here tonight wasn't the easiest thing for me.
It was her first appearance after conceding that long, bitter race.
There have been a few times this past week when all I wanted to do was just to curl up with a good book or our dogs and never leave the house again.
Clinton lost the election, but won the popular vote, more than 1 million votes ahead of Donald Trump.
I know many of you are deeply disappointed about the results of the election. I am too, more than I can ever express.
By the time all the votes have been counted, she may well have earned more raw votes than all but one of the men ever elected president. The exception, Barack Obama. Clinton urged her supporters not to be discouraged.
Stay engaged on every level. We need you. America needs you. Your energy, your ambition, your talent. That's how we get through this.
Her primary opponent, Bernie Sanders, is doing just that. Speaking last night at a separate event, he called Trump's new chief strategist a racist.
I call upon Mr. Trump to rescind the appointment that he made of Mr. Bannon. A president of the United States should not have a racist at his side. Unacceptable.
For her part, Clinton steered clear of any direct attacks. Instead, she spoke from the heart.
I know that over the past week, a lot of people have asked themselves whether America is the country we thought it was. But please listen to me when I say this. America is worth it.
Now, Clinton did not say what her own plans are moving forward. She had accepted this invitation to speak at the Children's Defense Fund long before Election Day, probably hoping it would be a different sort of speech. George?
That is an understatement. Okay, David, thanks very much. Let's get the latest now on Donald Trump's transition. President-elect focusing on national security today, meeting with Henry Kissinger and possible contenders for Secretary of State amid new reports that his son-in-law may take a prominent position in the White House. Martha Raddatz is tracking that from Washington. Martha, let's begin with that report about his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, reported in the Wall Street Journal that he may consider coming into the White House in a formal position, but there will be real legal questions about that.
Right, George. He has been, as you know, extremely influential during the campaign and could take a White House job. With sources telling ABC News he's currently looking at options, but it would clearly be in some sort of senior advisor role. And the Trump team has asked that Kushner get a security clearance during the transition, which makes complete sense because classified information could be discussed. Now, there are federal nepotism rules for federal agencies, but that may not apply to the White House. Either way, it would be very doubtful Kushner would take a salary, George.
Okay, Martha. And then also on this national security front, there have been talks about maybe having General Michael Flynn come in as national security advisor. The president-elect meeting with Henry Kissinger today. Also, Nikki Haley, who's maybe coming on the list for Secretary of State as well, the governor of South Carolina.
Exactly. He is meeting with Governor Nikki Haley, who was critical of Trump during the campaign. You'll remember she is under consideration for Secretary of State. It is a big day for national security. He's announcing transition landing teams for defense and the NSC, which will liaise with Obama teams. And as you said, he's meeting with Henry Kissinger, who he talked to throughout the campaign. Also, a sit-down with the head of the National Security Agency and the first face-to-face with the foreign leader, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan. Recall that during the campaign, Trump said he thought allies should pay their fair share when U.S. forces are protecting them. So that could be a lively discussion, George.
Certainly will. Martha Raddatz, thanks very much.
All right, George, we have a lot to talk about with our political strategist and ABC contributor, Kristen Soltis Anderson. She joins us now. Good morning, Kristen. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Kellyanne Conway just showed up. All right. Did you get stuck in traffic? Was that it? Was that it, Kellyanne? We're going to get to Kellyanne in a moment.
Slow down. We'll talk to Kristen first.
We'll talk to Kristen first. Let's go back to the remarks that Hillary Clinton made last night. What do you make of that, and where does she go from here?
Well, she's certainly disheartened. Of course, if you've been sort of preparing your entire life to be the president of the United States, when it's finally kind of taken away from you, it's got to be absolutely heartbreaking. There's a lot of folks in her party that have still not really come around to accepting the result of this election. There's a lot of healing to be done. I think she can play a really big role in getting some of these folks to realize the election is over, but there's productive work they can still do moving forward. And we're going to talk to Kellyanne about the transition that is going on right now with President-elect Trump. Chris Christie and those associated with him have been phased out. What kind of message does that send, do you think? You know, I think right now a lot of folks within the Republican Party are excited to have control of the White House, but there are some who were critical of Donald Trump, not necessarily big fans of his, and are waiting for some of these signals about what the administration will mean. I think getting rid of lobbyists on the transition team, putting in place bans on, having folks go and lobby after being in the administration is a signal that he's going to do the draining of the swamp he said he'd do. But I think by bringing in someone like a Nikki Haley, that would be a signal to those who were skeptical of him that there's still room for them in a Trump administration too.
Would appear that way. All right, Kristen, thanks very much.
Kellyanne Conway here right now. Kelly, we all feel your pain. Hard time getting around Manhattan these days with the Secret Service and Donald Trump. And thank you for coming in. Let's talk about the transition a little bit. And these reports this morning that Jared Kushner now considering taking a formal role in the White House. The ethics chiefs for both President George W. Bush and President Obama say that's illegal.
Well, I talked to Jared Kushner just this morning again, and he said he has not applied for any formal role. He has not applied for a national security clearance, George, but at the same time, he will continue to be very important to his father-in-law, who just happens to be the next president. Jared was incredibly important to our campaign effort and to the election, and he's a trusted advisor of his father-in-law. That won't change. All the adult children, really, and the in-laws will be very supportive.
But is he actually considering taking a formal job inside the White House?
He has not applied for that, and he lives here. He runs a pretty significant business here. Their 3 small children are here with them. And so it's a very important decision that many of us face, frankly. But he has not applied for anything formally. And I just think many of these press reports are false and inaccurate. And I would just call on everybody to just give us a little bit of time to form our federal government, get those appointments in place, and respect the election results and allow this man to do his job.
But it's clear that the president-elect values him. Does he want him to be in the White House?
Well, he wants him to be an advisor to him, which he will continue to be. But he's also his son-in-law, so he's family. And that's really what we should focus on here. I know the Bush sons were very involved in their father's administration. One became president of the United States, and they both became governors. So we would harken back to that as well. It's a very special relationship. Very few people in this country have the ability to serve as president, and of course their family members, particularly adult children, will be very supportive of that.
You mentioned your own situation. You going to join the White House?
I may. I didn't see mother of 4 small children in any of the job descriptions that I checked out. I'm sure your viewers can relate, but it's been such a privilege and an honor to be Donald Trump's campaign manager and to work with my old friend and client, Mike Pence, our new vice president. And I want to go and serve at my best and highest use, George. And so I'm still discussing that with Donald Trump. I told him I'm not a priority. Today at 5 p.m., Mr. Trump and Mr. Pence will be meeting with Prime Minister Abe from Japan, and we're being very respectful and deferential to the fact that President Obama is still the president. So these meetings have to be a little bit less formal, and we already have a commander-in-chief and a president. He's on his last foreign trip, and we would like to show the respect to Prime Minister Abe, but at the same time show the respect to President Obama.
Meantime, you're hearing some top Democrats now talk about working with the president. Like you've got Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, all saying if Donald Trump focuses on infrastructure, paid maternity leave, reforming trade bills, they can build bipartisan coalitions. Is that the direction he's going to move in?
Yes, and we're thrilled to hear that. Donald Trump made very clear what his first 100-day plan would be. Everyone can pull it up and see, and I assume those senators have done that. It does include infrastructure and energy investments. It does include job creation. It includes a different direction for health care for some Americans, and it certainly includes trying to reform our immigration system and to get a little bit more robust in defeating radical Islamic terrorism around the world. I'm happy to hear that from the senators, and I think that spirit of cooperation where divided government has been an excuse for too long, I think that spirit of cooperation was reflected in what Vice President Biden said yesterday to Vice President-elect Pence, which is, we had a great productive conversation. The Vice President said, quote, "I'm confident that the government is in good hands with Trump and Pence." And then he said that no administration is formed this early on. You have to give it time. And we don't really want to rush through these decisions. It takes some time to get it right.
Kellyanne Conway, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. And now let's turn to Ginger. It may not feel like winter here in New York, but it is coming. I'm looking at that picture, Ginger, and I think you're giving us a hint.
A slight hint of what's to come. It is not just a flake of snow, but 10 inches of snow for Snoqualmie, Washington. And look at this video out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Their first measurable snow of the season. And yes, if you're wondering, that is a tad late. This is a whole region that has not yet seen their actual first freeze. So it's all coming at once. You've got those winter weather advisories, a blizzard warning for parts of South Dakota and Minnesota. That means not only do you get the snow, but you get wind gusts of 40 to even 50 miles per hour, advising no travel in that region. Most of that's going to fall north and west of Minneapolis, but we'll be watching this, and a 50 to 60 degree temperature drop. Let's go head back over to you. Isn't that exciting, guys? 50 to 60 degrees? We're going to do it real fast. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. That's one way of looking at it. Thank you there, Ginger. We're going to turn now to new charges in that deadly police shooting in Minnesota that sparked nationwide protests. Philando Castile shot by an officer, his girlfriend live streaming the encounter on Facebook. Now that officer is being charged with manslaughter. ABC's Steve Osunsami has more.
Told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
This is the voice of Officer Geronimo Yanez, broadcast live on Facebook. And this is the gun police now say he shouldn't have fired, killing Philando Castile in the suburbs of St. Paul, Minnesota.
You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration.
This morning, he's charged with second-degree manslaughter and 2 felony firearm charges for endangering the safety of both Diamond Reynolds, who recorded the video July 6th, and her 4-year-old daughter in the back seat.
No reasonable officer would have used deadly force under these circumstances.
You hear both Castile and his girlfriend tell the officer he has a legally owned gun in his pocket. Authorities now say the officer started firing before Castile even had a chance to remove the gun.
I feel as though that murder to the highest extent of the law is what would be appropriate here. At the end of the day, none of that is going to bring my boyfriend back.
The officer tells them he's pulling them over for a broken taillight. But take a look. Pictures show the taillights were working. Over the radio, you hear him share another reason.
The 2 occupants just look like people that were involved in a robbery.
And you hear what even Minnesota's governor says is racism.
The driver looks more like one of our suspects just because of the wide set nose.
Police say the officer will turn himself in. Prosecutors say that Castile and his girlfriend had nothing to do with that robbery. The officer will appear in court tomorrow and is expected to plead not guilty. Robin?
A lot of people watching. All right, Steve. We're going to go to Amy now for the morning's other top story, starting with that major gas explosion.
Yeah, that's right. And the story was breaking overnight. A deadly explosion in downtown Canton, Illinois, near Peoria. A utility worker was killed and 11 people injured as crews were repairing a natural gas leak. A contractor apparently damaged the line, and surveillance video from a nearby store shows, look at that, the power of that explosion. The area was evacuated as police checked for structural damage. And a gas leak is also suspected of causing the explosion that leveled this home. Look at that in central Indiana. The house blown off its foundation. One person was killed. And overseas, a dramatic scene as a young girl was rescued from the rubble of an airstrike in Aleppo, Syria, that destroyed the only children's hospital in that city. Dozens of people have been killed in the latest wave of bombings. And there is new concern about air quality as the drought fuels wildfires in 7 southern states. Charlotte is the latest city to issue a code red warning with pollution levels 10 times higher than normal. Wildfire smoke is also blamed for a deadly car crash in Kentucky. And finally, a wild experience for a college runner in Pennsylvania. He was in the back of the pack when he was blindsided. Do you see that? By a deer running right through the course. He was knocked off his feet. He was sore, he was bruised, but he got up with the help of a teammate and finished what was his last race, and he wanted to make it through that country, through this cross-country finish line. And the man who captured the video, he said, who knew cross-country was a contact sport?
Who knew? It was so much worse.
It was incredible that he was okay.
Very fortunate.
Oh, wow. That's I'm not going to jog now. All right, here. Legendary Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully, the man called 67 seasons of baseball for the Dodgers. But one call he wasn't expecting came from the White House. Scully has been awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, our country's highest civilian honor. And listen to his reaction when the White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest broke the news to him.
It's the highest civilian honor that any president can give, and President Obama has given it out every year that he's been in office, and he gives it to just a handful of people. And this year he's going to give it to you.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yes. So you've had.
Are you sure? I mean, I'm just an old baseball announcer.
Well, obviously, Vin Scully's more than that. Absolutely. And, you know, so many big names are on the list this year. Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, Ellen DeGeneres, and also another one, NBA legend Michael Jordan is also on the list. The awards will be presented at the White House next week.
What an
Bruce
honor.
Springsteen in there, too.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen, Diana Ross, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Goes on and on.
Okay, let's go back to Ginger. What do you got behind there, Ginger?
You know, Amy mentioned the code red. Well, just to give you another value, the AQI, or the Air Quality Index, was actually 151 in cities like Atlanta, Charlotte. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but what if I told you that Shanghai and Hong Kong both had values very near to that yesterday? Wow. That's how bad the air quality is. That's why people are going to the hospital and have to be careful with those outdoor activities. 37 large fires burning in the southeast, even a couple of popping up in New York there. The storm track stays north, and unfortunately, I do not have a lot of rain for a lot of us that really, really need it in the southeast. So the drought will go on, as will the fires. Your local weather 30 seconds away. First, though, the Snowy Cities, brought to you by Target.
At Target.
Expect quiet, dry weather today, and it's going to look pretty nice by the afternoon. Sunshine today, a warm jacket, though, out the door. Driving impact forecast with nice conditions across the area. High pressure moving in. We will have sunshine going up to 61. Just a gorgeous fall day for today. Meanwhile, our temperatures get way high for Friday, your Saturday as well. Upper 60s, and then way down for Sunday. We go from autumn to feeling like winter on Sunday. Little rain late Saturday night.
So just to give you a little picture of this, the high in Denver was 80, latest ever 80 in November. 22. How about that old flipperoo behind a cold front? Yeah.
Ouch.
So,
Jacket's out of the wardrobe. Right
It's coming fast. Thank you, Ginger. Coming up, that ABC News exclusive. Former Fox News star Gretchen Carlson at the center of that Roger Ailes bombshell. She's now speaking out to Amy about sexual harassment that she says she faced during her career.
When situations like that happen to women, you fear that it's going to be your fault.
She's coming forward now only on GMA.
And a Manhattan murder mystery. This 26-year-old